Welcome back to the What's Next series. This time we're going to be talking about the LA Clippers, man. They had a very unique run to the conference finals after Kawhi suffered a partially torn ACL, which we later found out was the injury that he suffered in the second round series. They were able to beat the number one seed Utah Jazz and make it to the conference finals and give the Phoenix Suns a little bit of a run, a little bit of a scare. Ended up losing in 6 games, but they've had a pretty interesting offseason so far, to say the least, I would say. So let's talk about it, man. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. This is a channel where we talk about NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. So let's get into it, man. The LA Clippers conference finals run last season after, in the bubble, we all know the blown 3-1 lead. But I felt like they were a different team last year. They made some moves during the season, getting Rajon Rondo, Boogie Cousins, to kind of just add some experience and depth to this roster. But it was a unique playoff run. They went down 2-0 two times in the postseason, but they were able to overcome 2-0 deficits twice. They couldn't do it a third time, but they still put up a valiant effort in the conference finals, like we mentioned. And this offseason was pretty interesting. It started with the draft. They were able to get Keon Johnson, who was projected to be a lottery pick on some people's boards, and they ended up getting him at the 21st pick. Their second round picks, I think they got very good value with their picks. They got BJ Boston later in the draft at the 51st overall pick. I think that was a very good pickup. And then they also got Jason Preston from Ohio University. His story deserves a video of its own, so I'm not going to get into it. But his story's crazy. If you haven't heard it, I'm sure there's a bunch of videos out there. I might make one myself because his story's crazy, just how he came from what he came from and is able to make it to the league and get a roster spot with the Clippers. Shout out to him. And then in free agency, man, they re-signed Kawhi Leonard to a 4-year contract, which is, big time. Kawhi has been somebody that's not prone to signing long-term deals, but he signs a 4-year deal, so showing his commitment to the Clippers after all they did to get Paul George there to bring him there and to try and build a title contender. So hopefully his recovery goes well, and hopefully we can see him on the court sometime this season. We don't really know the timetable to his injury, but he might be out majority of this year. We really don't know. So hopefully the process is good with him. They also bring back Nicholas Batum. Reggie Jackson gets a nice value deal. I think it was 2 years, $22 million was the deal. I thought he was going to get a bag from somebody to go play on maybe a lesser team or something like that, but decides to stay with the Clippers. He had an amazing playoff run, hit the most threes in the postseason, I believe. He had a great effort in the postseason. I like that. And then recently, this is what I don't know how to. I kind of don't know how to make sense of this move. Trading for Eric Bledsoe. I'm not sure if that was a great move, a good move, or a bad move. I'm not really sure. To be honest, for those of y'all who don't know, Eric Bledsoe was drafted by the LA Clippers like 11 years ago. I think 2010 draft. He was a first-round pick by the Clippers. That was a long time ago, man. And he had some of his best years in LA, I would say. That's when he was getting compared to. I think they used to call him like Baby Braun or something like that because he was like 6'1", but he did everything like LeBron does. Obviously not on LeBron's level, nowhere near it, but that's what, he was kind of like a meme player, but not a meme player because he was actually really good with the Clippers. And they trade away Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo and also Daniel Otero. Rondo didn't really play in the postseason as much, but I think having him on the bench as kind of like a coach, it was kind of like a coach, an added coach, because Rondo is a student of the game. He's one of the most high IQ players that we've seen in the league over the last decade and a half. He's just such a smart player. He's been through a lot of deep playoff runs, a 2-time champion with the Celtics and with the Lakers. And I think he was somebody that was good just to have on that bench as another voice. And, when he would get in the game, his impact may have not shown in the stat sheet, but you could tell that they were a better team when he was on the floor at times. I think later on in the playoffs, it was just kind of tough to play him, to play Pat Bev, to play Terrence Mann, all those minutes along with Reggie Jackson. It was tough to play all those guys, even count some minutes and stuff. But I think the experience of Rondo really did help this team. And I think Pat Bev is just somebody that is – he's like a mentality changing player, like how I've talked with PJ Tucker, with Drew Holiday. I've talked about this with many guys. He's just one of those players that changes the attitude, the mentality of your team. And that could be something that they might lose here. Now, you would hope Eric Bledsoe is actually a better basketball player and is a better suited player to help this team maybe make another championship type of run or a conference finals run or something like that. But I don't know. This is it's an interesting move, man. I think they're kind of swinging for the fences here, and it could work out really well or it could not. Hopefully, with a less there won't be as much expected of Eric Bledsoe playing alongside Kawhi and Paul George. Obviously when Kawhi gets back, but it's an intriguing move to say the least. We'll see how it works out. I really don't know how to think of it, man. I think it can be really hit or miss. I mean, maybe we see the best version of Eric Bledsoe that we've seen in the last 4 years, or maybe he's still just, kind of a mid-level point guard, mid-level starting point guard, because that's what he's been over the last few years. I don't know. We'll see how the Clippers can unlock whatever is left of Eric Bledsoe. They also got Serge Ibaka back. He didn't play in the playoffs. I think that would have been a big piece to have, especially when they were going up against the Suns, because DeAndre Ayton was killing the Suns. They were killing the Clippers in that conference finals. So Serge would have definitely been somebody that could have helped that. Zubac was playing well, but Serge was just, of course, an experienced big, very good defensively, can stretch the floor. He would have been a perfect guy to have on the floor in that conference finals. But I think the Clippers, this season is really going to depend on the timetable of Kawhi Leonard. Worst case scenario, you still have Paul George, so I still think this is a playoff team, no doubt about it. It just really depends on, the development of some guys. Terrence Mann's going to get a lot more opportunity now with Kawhi Leonard being out. You're going to hope Reggie Jackson can not play like how he did in the postseason because he was on a whole nother level, but, sustain a very good level of play. He shot the 3-ball well during the regular season last year. You hope that he can keep that up this season. You hope that you get something out of Eric Bledsoe. Maybe you get, just the Eric Bledsoe that we were used to seeing, back in Phoenix or, his first season in Milwaukee. Maybe we could see that type of Eric Bledsoe. See how the development of guys like Keon Johnson, Jason Preston, maybe you get BJ Boston some minutes. The development of those guys, Zubac, hopefully Serge can stay healthy. We'll see what they do if they bring back Boogie Cousins. There's still some bright spots for the Clippers. They might not be a championship team if Kawhi Leonard does not play, but they showed last season that they have a very good way of being able to get the most out of their talent. Shout out to Ty Lue for proving that in the postseason. So, yeah, that's the Clippers offseason, man, in a nutshell right there. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say. I'm still just kind of torn on the Eric Bledsoe move. So we'll just see how that works out on paper. I'm excited to see their young players get a lot of reps this season. Hopefully Kawhi Leonard gets back. We might see maybe a MVP caliber season from Paul George. You never really know, because he was playing like that in the postseason after Kawhi went out. So hopefully we see the best of Paul George as well. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and be sure to tune in next time because I'll probably be talking about your favorite team, man. But I'm out, y'all. Peace.